One of the biggest updates in the Nolan Wells case has to do with his cell phone. And I think this may explain why so many people are still asking questions about what really happened on Horn Island. As most of you know, 18-year-old Nolan Wells disappeared while on Horn Island in Mississippi with a group of friends on the 4th of July. 2 days later, his body was found washed ashore. From the beginning, many people have suspected foul play. Some point to reports that Nolan was the only black member of the group he traveled with. Others point to reports that an argument took place before he disappeared. Because of those unanswered questions, Nolan's family hired civil rights attorney Benjamin Crump. They hired Crump to conduct an independent investigation and arrange for an independent autopsy. Now, here's the latest development. During an interview with ABC News, Benjamin Crump revealed that the friends reportedly told investigators Nolan stayed behind on the island when they left. But according to Crump, they also left the island with Nolan's cell phone. The family says that when they eventually got the phone back, they discovered that messages had been deleted before it was returned to them. Now, that immediately raises several questions. If Nolan stayed behind, why did his phone leave the island without him? Who had possession of the phone? And if messages was deleted, we need to know who deleted them and why. So as these details became public, many people began questioning a group of friends that Nolan was traveling with. And their silence has only fueled more speculation. One of the parents, Ashley Cole, the mother of Warren, eventually released a public statement. She said her family is grieving alongside the Wells family and that Warren loved Nolan dearly. She explained that she deleted her Facebook account because the situation had become so emotionally charged that she feared for the safety of her children. She also stated that she graduated with Nolan's mother and that they come from the same community and has great respect for the Wells family. Cole also said neither she nor her husband was on Horn Island that day and that no one in her family is trying to interfere with the investigation. According to her, Warren fully cooperated with the Jackson County Sheriff's Department. She said Warren last saw Nolan around 3 p.m. The group reportedly left around 4:30 p.m. because their boat was taking on water after experiencing problems with the bilge pump. According to Warren's account, Nolan chose to remain on the island and planned to return later with another group. But Benjamin Crump says that there are still inconsistencies that need to be explained. According to Crump, the last young woman known to have spoken with Nolan told investigators that after they finished talking, Nolan said he was going back to the boat. However, the young men on the boat reportedly gave a different account. They said Nolan told them he was staying behind with the young woman. So we got two conflicting stories from two different people saying two different things about each other here. Something not adding up. So both of those two versions of events can't both be true. And that contradiction is one of the main reasons that Nolan's family continues pushing for answers. According to Crump, the independent autopsy was expected to be completed by Friday. He also noted that if messages were deleted from Nolan's phone, forensic investigators may still be able to recover them. If those messages are recovered, they could become one of the most important pieces of evidence in determining what happened on Horn Island. For now, several important questions remain unanswered. Why did Nolan's phone leave the island without him? Who had possession of it before it was returned to his family? Were messages actually deleted? And if so, by whom? Why do witnesses appear to be giving conflicting accounts of Nolan's final movements? And what would an independent autopsy reveal? So right now, those are the questions investigators and Nolan's family are still trying to answer. Now, before I give my little analysis on this situation, check this out.
There is no way in hell that that young man decided to go for a swim by himself on that island on 4th of July weekend. The island's packed with people. It would be hard to even find a way to go for a swim by yourself alone on that island on 4th of July. It's just a little spit of land. But there is no fucking way in hell that young black man on an island full of white people decided to sneak off by himself and go for a swim alone in water over his head or anywhere near over his head. That's not something that happened. And an accidental drowning is the only way that young man could be dead and it not be murder. And there's no fucking way he went swimming by himself, that he left the group and everybody that could possibly see or hear him and decided to go for a swim.
Now, here's my analysis on the whole situation. The fact that this happened on the 4th of July may not mean nothing to other people, but I was looking at this from multiple different angles. And in a way, it kind of seems like some kind of sacrificial ritual, some kind of sacrifice. I definitely think it's foul play. I definitely think something very bad happened to Nolan. We'll see what the autopsy say. But with the conflicting stories and the cell phone situation, it just don't look good. Something happened to the young man. And when you investigate the people involved, these were supposedly a bunch of rich white kids. And apparently these kids, their families are powerful families, got a lot of pull in the area. And it's a chance that this can be beaten. It's a chance that these kids committed the perfect murder, because Horn Island is one of the most isolated islands in America. It's very isolated. If anything happened out there, it's he say, she say. And the law just can't really convict nobody with that. It was the perfect scenario for a hit. It seems premeditated. It seems planned. Also, when you get onto Horn Island, you don't get a cell phone signal. So there is no cell phone signal. And the fact that there was an argument and an altercation that took place before all of this, it's just put more suspicion on this situation. Horn Island is surrounded by strong currents and changing tides. Deaths around the barrier islands are very common. And the number one cause of death in these areas is drowning. So the fact that there is no witnesses, there is no cell phone services, you can't call out for help, you isolated, it's common for people to drown in these areas. Everything is in alignment, is looking good for these young men. If they committed a murder, everything is lined up for them to beat this. And Ben Crump is such an awesome individual. And he came through for our people a lot of times. But in this situation, he got his work cut out for him because it's so isolated. This is a different situation. And the fact that he was the only black guy is what make this seem so suspicious. And the altercation and everything else I pointed out. But what can work in these young men's favor is the fact that drowning is common in this area anyway. Even though we know that's some bull crap, like why would this kid just say, you know what, I came with all of y'all, but now I want to be alone and go swim by myself. Keep my phone, by the way. It just don't make sense. Again, it looked like a premeditated hit. It looked like he was sacrificed on a historic island. Mississippi has a deep history of racism and people getting off with this kind of stuff. We'll see how this play out. But it seems like a lot of people in high places in that town is in on this, and it's a good chance these kids may get off. The most critical thing about all of this is, if Nolan is such a friend to y'all, why didn't y'all as friends even post a RIP for Nolan after the fact? All of Nolan's friends that was with him, none of them are publicly grieving. None of them posted anything about Nolan since then. Again, the silence is raising a lot of the suspicion as well.